ABC, where New York comes to talk.
Welcome, everybody. It's the Radiosurgery Show with Dr. Gil Lederman, M.D., New York's only Harvard-trained, triple board-certified radiation oncologist who brings you the latest cancer treatment news, interviewing world-renowned cancer experts, delving into special cases, and, of course, answering your questions. I'm Rob Redstone, broadcasting from the WABC studios in the heart of New York City. And now, please welcome Dr. Lederman.
Good morning. This is Gil Lederman. We're live at the ABC studios in New York. I'm here with Rob Spencer, who's my co-pilot today, and John Taronsky. So we have the whole team here, and we have Aaron and Coop in the control console, so thank you for all your great work.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
And we're live, so if you wish to have questions, please call in medical questions, mainly about cancer work, 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. We have a lot of interesting cases to discuss today, some cancer news, and some things really struck me during the week that I want to talk about, and I hope that we can educate listeners and educate listeners to do better things for themselves and their loved ones. So I hope that that is the case.
Excellent.
Rob, what's to you the difference between alternative medicine and regular medicine?
Well, I think of alternative medicine as being like herbal remedies and vitamins, things like that.
Is it proven work, or is it things that are unproven? Is it in the world of the black and the unknown, or is it well documented in your mind?
I think of it as being mostly unproven stuff.
Yeah. If it were proven, would you consider it alternative, or would you then consider it proven?
I would consider it proven.
Yeah. So there's a big schism out there, and many people are suspicious that the medical world is holding back and not letting people have the best treatment. And I remember back in the 70s, the same kind of thing went around in the car industry when there were lines for gas, and people said General Motors had a known way of having a car that went 100 miles a gallon, and they were just hiding it because they were in cahoots with the oil industry. And I think if they had a car that went 100 miles a gallon, probably they'd be out there selling it and probably creaming everybody's rear end.
That's right.
What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with you on that, Doctor.
I mean,
sure.
Most of the industries usually don't hide their best product for decades and decades.
Right, they want to promote it and push it, correct.
And it's hard to believe that doctors don't want to give the best possible treatment to patients. I'm sure listeners may have comments on that. Anyway, so that's right. Alternative is kind of another way of saying we're going to go to this other world, hoping that there's secrets out there that are better, smarter than my doctor and my medical university and people that devote their life to it. And unfortunately, a lot of times people are making a lot of money off of selling products to other people that are not proven. In fact, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, so it's a huge industry right now.
Sure.
And I bring it up because we had a patient, and I'm told that person we're going to talk about them today. I talk about a lot of people, but I see hundreds of people, so no one really knows who I'm talking about.
Right.
So I don't use names, and you can be confident. I'm not going to let your neighbors know who you are. But we had a woman come in, and her husband was 69 years old. He was diagnosed with rectal cancer, localized rectal cancer, in 2010. And for whatever reason, they decided not to go with medical care.
Right.
So they went with this other kind of care. And she started to describe the things that they were going with. They were going to Mexico and Germany and ozone and vitamins and other things. Now, generally, when you get a test and it shows your cancer's worse, what would a normal person do if you had cancer and the cancer's worse? What would you do? Would you continue that treatment? Or
I think I would, seek alternative opinions and see a different doctor.
Yeah, I think you'd probably stop. You'd probably stop that and go on to something else.
Right.
So anyway, this family continued on the same course, and the cancer got bigger and bigger, and now it's 8 centimeters, and lymph nodes are involved, and they're keeping on going on and going on. And for localized rectal cancer, the success rate's pretty high. Do you have any idea, Rob, what the success rate, meaning cancer-free survival 5 years later, is for rectal cancer, localized, no lymph nodes?
Right. Is it about 70?
Yes, at least 70%, maybe higher. And Ronald Reagan had a colon cancer, and he lived, 20 years later.
Yeah.
So once you get lymph nodes, the prognosis falls. Everything you have more of in the cancer world is worse. So unfortunately, they're sitting there going on ozone and vitamins while the prognosis is falling and falling and falling.
Sure.
And so I just wanted to bring up some of the data. And there's this fantastic book called Do You Believe in Magic by Dr. Paul Offit, O-F-F-I-T. It was just published by Harper. And he kind of takes on this alternative medical world and what is the truth behind it. Because actually, when there's claims made, usually there's doctors out there who are trying to say, okay, is it true or not? So if you remember back in the 70s and 80s, there was a very famous doctor named Linus Pauling, and he won Nobel Prize for his work in science. He actually is the only one who won 2 Nobel Prizes by himself in separate fields. One was Peace Prize for his activism against war, and one was for his DNA work, which was revolutionary. And then in his later years, he started off on vitamins. And most people now remember him about vitamin C. And he made huge claims claims that vitamin C, massive doses of vitamin C, was going to cure things. And in fact, of course, most all of us get enough vitamin C in our diet that we don't really need to go to the health food store and give them our hard-earned money. But in 2011, researchers at University of Minnesota, found actually that women who took supplemental multivitamins died at higher rates than those who didn't.
Wow.
And I don't know, most people, Rob, you're in the medical profession. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, I didn't know it either. And unfortunately, all this information, this is information that seems suppressed, that actually taking vitamins is harmful to the health.
Sure.
Okay, so University of Minnesota, which is a great institution, found that people died at higher rates if they took supplemental vitamins than if they didn't. And then Cleveland Clinic found men that took vitamin E, and everyone's hearing about vitamin E and prostate cancer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So Cleveland Clinic, another great institution, found that men who took vitamin E had an increased risk of prostate cancer.
Wow.
So most of these studies actually that have analyzed hormonal use or vitamin use, I should say, actually found deteriorating results, not beneficial results. So Pauling in 1970 said if you took 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C, which is 50 times the recommended, so-called recommended dose, that it would stop the common cold. And so then people then researched that. And there was a paper that was published, actually papers published back to 1942 showed that with 980 colds treated, there was no indication that vitamin C alone or antihistamine alone or vitamin C plus an antihistamine had any effect on the cold. So there's been data now for almost 70 years that vitamin C doesn't work. But anyway, because of Pauling, the University of Maryland researchers gave 3,000 milligrams, which was the dose that he was talking about, every day for 3 weeks to 11 volunteers, and a sugar pill to 10 others, and then they infected them with the cold virus. Okay? So what do you think happened? Yet half the people had massive dose of vitamin C, half sugar pill, and then you infect them with the cold virus. Who's going to get sick and who's not? John, what do you think?
I would say the people who are going to get sick who don't take the sugar pill. What's the other way around?
Okay, well, they all got sick,
They all got sick, okay.
and their cold was all the same duration.
Gotcha.
Okay, so
2 weeks, is that right, Doctor?
It didn't help. I think we got a call, and then we're going to come back to this information because I think it's really very important. So we have Londa on the line from North Carolina, and it shows the great reach of the 50,000-watt WABC antenna. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm listening online while I'm lesson planning through WABC and really love your show.
Thank you.
I wanted to call for some time. I'm in my mid-50s. Most of my mother's side of the family is deceased, but for the first 25...
Sorry to hear that.
Well, thank you. But for the first 25 years of my life, I always heard from her and her mother that their side of the family had this high propensity toward benign brain tumors.
Mm-hmm.
And I should always warn my doctors, and I should look for the signs, and I never really paid attention to it. But it's always been in the back of my mind, and I've never felt comfortable telling my doctor because that's all the information I had, nothing other than just be warned. I wonder if you could elaborate about what I should be looking for.
Well, thank you very much for calling, and I appreciate it. There is a syndrome called neurofibromatosis 2, and this is a syndrome that runs in families, and it's given from one generation to the next, and it's actually multiple benign tumors. So someone who has a family history of benign tumors certainly should be screened. We treat a lot of people with acoustic neuromas. Neurofibromatosis 2 has, as a sign, bilateral acoustic neuromas, which are benign tumors on the hearing nerve, the 8th cranial nerve, and often multiple meningiomas and often other schwannomas. So if you have a family history of benign tumors, it'd probably pay for you to get an MRI. With an MRI, there's no radiation. You should get an MRI of the brain with contrast, and try to investigate the family and see if they really had NF2 and if they had these multiple brain tumors. So I'd urge you to do that. And we have another caller on. If you have questions during the week or you want more information about it, just call us at our office, which is 212-CHOICES, 212-246-4237. Call during the week, and I'll be happy to spend more time with you. On the line is Dr. Daniel Eisen. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Lederman.
Dr. Daniel Eisen is a Spanish language-trained, Argentinian-born radiation oncologist who works with me. So I'm glad you called. And your specialty is taking care of cancer in the Spanish patients, correct?
Well, that is very, very important because the language barrier is so incredible. When we do the interview in Spanish, the patient have an opportunity not just only to go over the case, but we start almost from scratch. We go over every explanation, the pathology report, all the different tests, and I do believe that in many cases it makes a big difference, particularly for Latin Americans that they're coming to the United States or from Europe, and the way of going over in Spanish is just incredible.
So how do people contact you if they want to speak in Spanish to you?
They can call me directly, actually. I work very well with them. My number is 917-836-8105.
Can we have that again, please?
Sure. 917-836-8105.
Okay, so if you want some Spanish questions answered, please contact Dr. Eisen. He works at Radiosurgery New York, and let him know what your concerns are. Thank you very much. Buenos dias, as we say in España, correct? Okay, we're going to have a word from our sponsor, and then we're going to get back and talk more about patients and news and other good things.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Welcome back to the Radiosurgery Hour.
For prostate cancer treatment, results and quality of life matter. Hi, I'm Dr. Gil Lederman from Radiosurgery New York. Our enviable record includes treating thousands with prostate cancer. Critical to every man with prostate cancer and their loved ones is quality of life, urinary and sexual, and great treatment data while avoiding surgery. Treatment here is outpatient, with most insurances, Medicare, Medicaid accepted. First in America with radiosurgery. For cancers from head to toe, we have the expertise to hit the cancer. Our fresh second opinion could change your life. For prostate cancer treatment, call 212-CHOICES, 212-CHOICES. Radiosurgery New York. Super conveniently located in Manhattan at 38th and Broadway, we hit the prostate cancer. Call 212-CHOICES, 212-CHOICES, to hit the prostate cancer. For new or